Namibia is a semi-arid country with 15% of its total land covered by the desert. Recent statistics released by the United States Embassy has shown that half of the country's population now resides in urban areas, a phenomenon common on the African continent, but a grave issue for most governments as rapid urbanization strains available local resources. The water crisis experienced over the last 3 years as a result of below-average rainfalls brought many parts of the country to its knees, especially the central area. The three main storage reservoirs in the region, namely from Bach, Omatako and Swakkopport dams, received low inflows in 2014. This prompted city authorities to plead with the public to save 10% of water to address Windhoek's high water consumption rate. 2 years later, when all three dams were at their lowest, the savings bar was eventually raised to 30%. During this period, restrictions on water usage were set in place. This included not watering gardens and even the closing down of illegal car washes as a means to reduce consumption. In recent years, the city has drilled 8 boreholes around the capital to replenish its water supply from underground sources. Local industries also came on board in efforts to lessen demand faced by the city. Namibian Breweries, in this regard, activated several of its boreholes, while other companies focused on using the precious resource more sparingly. However, the last rainy season boosted dam levels, with the levels of the three main dams 3 times higher than they were last year. Despite the relief, authorities have opted not to loosen up on the restrictions. But for how long will this continue? And what does our future water security look like? Joining me in the studio to talk about this topic is the Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Forestry, Nehemia. Mr. Nehemia, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Authorities in the central area maintain stringent measures when it comes to saving water, despite good rainfall received this year, which leads me to my first question. Does this mean that we are still in a crisis situation?
Yes, because history is actually the best teacher. And you have seen that we have had drought years consecutively in the past 20 years. Yes, there are times when we get 1 or 2 years with floods or with average or above average rainfall. But we have been experiencing sometimes even 3 consecutive years without sufficient rainfall, which is below average. So we are not sure what will happen the coming rain season, which means whatever we have now is only there for probably 2 years. So it can, and the second year we might go there really struggling to the second rain season. Therefore, we do not know what will happen. Therefore, knowing the history, we are still at crisis, yes.
So you might still be expecting low rainfalls in the coming rainy season?
Yeah, we expect from the extreme of above to a very below rainfall. So we are not sure what we are going to get. Therefore, we have to be prepared to really be able to move over 2 to 3 years all the time.
Let's look at the restrictions. What do they entail, and are they sufficient to ensure that undue pressure is not put on our currently available resources?
Yeah, restrictions entails several aspects. And we look at restrictions at individual, at institutional, at household, at business level. We look at all that. But if you look at the current restrictions, they are more focused on institutions, institutional restrictions, of where we have big companies, for instance, like Coca-Cola, and they are given a certain volume that they should be able to use. They cannot just use water, and the breweries and those kind of institutions that takes a lot of water. So those restrictions to institutions that use a lot of water is still in place. Restrictions at household level, things like having water in swimming pools and leaving them open. We say, please, this time we don't need to swim in the swimming pool. Take a shower and you will be cool enough. So those will still have to remain in place. And the most important thing really is ensuring that individuals then do practice water saving If you look at for instance, where much water is wasted, if you go to big institutions like schools and hostels and those, a lot of water is being wasted. But what's important is really to educate individuals, because if the individuals do not take the responsibility of closing the tap after using it, we are going to lose a lot of water, because so many people are using water facilities. So the restrictions actually are still in place, and we have to go on like that.
Over the last couple of years, we have seen an insufficient inflow of water into our main storage dams. How will your ministry ensure that a similar problem will not be experienced if the next rainy season is again below average?
Yeah, the inflow actually is a natural thing. I know there were reports towards the end of last year or early this year of people suggesting that water is being blocked from running into the national dams by individual farmers, etc., of which we really went out there and double-checked. There's not so significant prohibition of water to run to the dams. So definitely what we get into the dams is what the nature can allow us to really get. And there's not really much that we as a ministry can do. Or what we are doing is education to our farmers, is physical inspection to the farms to make sure that there are no large dams there beyond the allowed volume of what a farmer can have on a farm, to ensure that then the rest of the water runs into the national dams. So actually it's a matter of ensuring that people are adhering to the restrictions that are put there of how much water you can have on your farm, because these people, they need water as well. It's not only Windhoek that needs water from the rainfall. Even these farmers, they need water. Therefore, they are also allowed to take some water from what we get into the catchments. But there is a restriction that you should not have a dam larger than 20,000.
Settlements and farms in the central area are also supplied with water from the three main storage dams, which are from Bach, Omatako and Swakkopport. Tell us about their water consumption compared to Windhoek.
Yeah, the settlements and the settlements around Windhoek, like those on the way to the airport, definitely they are supplied from the same system. They don't have their different systems. Namwater is also supplying them. So all of that is the water that's coming from Bach dam. But theirs is actually definitely minimal in comparison to the center of the city. But they are supplied from the same system, and they're not taking really much. But we, as I said, we have to ensure that all Namibians have access to water. That's the policy of the government.
A consultative conference was held last year to discuss possible alternatives to supply water to Windhoek and to relieve the pressure on existing sources. What progress has been made in this regard?
We really have made progress in that regard, because remember when that conference was held at the State House, His Excellency the President have then decided to establish a cabinet committee on water security, which then has in turn established a technical committee of experts which is supporting the cabinet committee. That technical committee has been sitting every Wednesday at State House, looking into the measures that must be taken or had to be taken that time to avert Windhoek to run dry, because the assessment was that Windhoek could actually have run dry by December last year, completely dry. The Van Bach dam could have run dry completely. So the team started to work hard. We had to work around the clock to drill additional boreholes in Windhoek, which brought in a serious additional amount of water. We had to work on additional water supply from the north, from the Karst aquifer and Grootfontein area through the system at Combat and Bergaukas, and a lot of water was brought in through the Omatako dam over to Van Bach, and that was then treated and sent to Windhoek. And when all the work has been done that was then planned that time, what we have secured now is actual a 3-year water security for Windhoek. So 3 years, even if it doesn't rain, not even a single drop, we will still have water in Windhoek because of those systems that were put in place through the drilling of additional boreholes here, through the increase of the water reclamation system from the Windhoek Gamam treatment systems, and also then the water from the north, from the Karst aquifer.
Underground water has been extracted extensively during the water crisis period. We've even seen some boreholes drilled around the city. Have you been able to replenish this source?
Yeah, the boreholes that are drilled in Windhoek, there are actual dual-purpose boreholes. Boreholes that are there for production, where you actually extract water from the aquifer into the system to supply to the customers. And there are also boreholes that are put there for injection of water into the aquifer for replenishment. So we get the natural replenishment through the rainfall, but we also then have to, like now when we have much more water in the dams, we treat that water and put it in the aquifer. We have Windhoek, city of Windhoek actually has started last month already, putting water into the aquifer, because we have additional water in the Van Bach dam now because of the rain we had. So we are actually looking into developing that into a very large scheme that in the future we are able to put huge amounts of water into the aquifer, which then will definitely bring in an increased period of water security. I've spoken of 3 years now. If we are able to pump water into this aquifer to its full capacity, we might have water sufficient for 6-7 years. And that's what we are looking to in the long run, actually.
What is the total capacity of this aquifer in Windhoek?
The Windhoek aquifer, if you go into history, why Windhoek was established is because of its fountains. And those fountains were the water actual that this aquifer was naturally full. That's why the water was actually flowing out by itself. It is millions and millions of gallons of water that can go in there. Over the years, we have been pumping and not much have been going into the aquifer. I don't have the exact figure of the capacity of the aquifer now, but I can assure you it's millions and millions of gallons of cubic meters of water that can be stored under there. And we are currently actually engaging the Global Environmental Fund to help us with the funds to really fully develop the system so that we have really sufficient water in storage here to ensure that during the drought years, Windhoek is still secured in terms of water supply.
Let's talk a bit about Swakkopport Dam. That dam is green because it is full of algae. What is government doing to ensure that the dam is brought back to its original state?
Currently, the Swakkopport Dam is the mostly polluted dam in our system. We have been trying certain technologies of treating water, dealing with the algae on the dams. And we've only been doing that on the Swakkopport Dam for now.
Yet the water is currently being consumed, is it?
Yeah, the water is consumed, but you see, the aspect of how much you put in the treatment process is what matters. When you treat water which is having a low turbidity, which means the rubbish and whatever that is dissolved in the water, you take it out. That level determines also the cost, because it also determines the amount of chemicals you have to use to treat the water. And you do not want really to spend too much money on the chemicals, because chemicals are very expensive for treating water. So you want your water, when you treat it, is somehow clean in its natural state. And for that, we definitely in the long run have to spend much more money in terms of keeping our dams clean. Not only treating the water in the dams, but also preventing the pollution. If you look at the water in Koreachap Dam here in Windhoek, we can't use it as well because of the pollution. And it's because of the pollution that's coming from the city. So it's the people who are polluting this. So we have to work with our people as well to educate them, to tell them that when they go there and have nice parties, they don't need to throw all the rubbish in the water. Because at the end of the day, water will become something that you cannot use like now.
So now has government given up on the dam?
We have not given up. So say the technologies are being developed in the world that helps to treat water in the dams. And as I said, we are going to see how we have to spend the resources, financial resources, to work on those dams and see how we can clean them. And not only then cleaning them in the dams, as I say, we must also work hard to prevent further pollution that is then created by the human beings.
Is it practical? Is it doable? Cleaning the dam.
It's doable. It has been done in the world, but as I said, it's a costly affair. The technologies that are used is very, very costly. We have been, as I said, piloting it in the Swakkopport dam, but it was at a small scale. If we have to treat the whole dam, we have really to spend millions and millions of dollars to do that.
A system of water marshals was introduced late last year by a ministry. What is the core function of this new initiative?
Yeah, the water marshals are actual individuals that are identified by institutions to assist in ensuring that the level of water wastage is minimized. These people, we have put them together in a training room, and we train them in basic water facilities maintenance. So their job is actually, if you are in a 5-story building, you must go to all the floors every day, check whether there is any pipe that's leaking or any tap that's leaking, or all the problems that are faced with water wastage, or take the readings of the meters, because if you took the reading of a meter, and this month it says 10 cubic meters, all of a sudden next month is 50 cubic meters, but the number of people did not change, then somewhere, somehow the water is leaking somewhere. So you'll be able to tell that something is wrong, and then you can even then bring in the experienced artisans to really identify where the problem is so that it can be fixed. So all the leaks, we always say, if you can't fix it, report it. Whatever they can fix, they must fix. What they cannot, they must report so that it can be fixed. Because it is not really good if an institution pay water for, say, $1,000, but they're only using water for $500. The rest goes to waste. So it's also wasting of resources. Not only maybe the water, but all the financial resources as well. And also then having water being pumped from the dams to be supplied and not be used. We could have kept it there and used it for the following month. So definitely these people are playing a major role in ensuring that we minimize the leakages to the bare minimum.
So which buildings are you talking about here? Is it now public or private buildings?
Or both private and public. We have people from all sorts of institutions that are trained.
And the initiative, has it been effective?
It is effective, yes.
Will it continue?
It will continue, yes.
All right. Mr. Nehemia, any other final words from your side? Maybe a message to the general public out there regards to utilizing water?
Yeah, the general public is always and now and again been reminded that this country is a very dry country. We are in a semi-arid country. Our rainfall is unpredictable. It is variable. You can have floods in Kavango River Basin, but the rest of the country is completely dry. So there's no way we can say Namibia has got a good rainfall. Even during the flood times, we have droughts in some parts of the country. So living in such a country, we have to be very sensitive in terms of water usage. Normally, one only realizes the importance of something when you don't have it anymore. So when the water is there that day, we say, no, it's nice. But when you don't have a drop to drink, that's when you realize, oh my goodness, I should have not done the things the way I was doing it. So let's be water wise. Let's save every drop that we get. Let's plan for today and tomorrow and other days to come. We should not only say I have water today, because we don't know what's happening tomorrow. And that's why I said at the beginning, we do not know what will happen with the next rainfall. So the water that we have now, we really need to take care of it and use it judiciously so that we can save as much as possible.
You are telling me that your ministry has no idea what the next rainy season will be like. Don't you get predictions from the meteorological services?
We do, but as I said, what these meteorological predictions give you is the average rainfall that we'll get. And
not very accurate.
You might get that in one corner of the country, and the rest is dry, as I said. So it's good to have that, but sometimes, even now, they also don't know very well what will happen. So they also do not predict over a very long period of time. So only towards the rainfall they will be able to tell you really what is happening. So we have them. We are working together with the meteorological services of Namibia and also the SADC meteorological services. So we are getting all this information. But my friend, we can't be 100% sure of what we are going to get. And history has taught us a very good lesson.
All right. Mr. Nehemia, let me thank you very much for your time, sir.
You're welcome.
All right. And that is all we have for you tonight. Be sure to share your views on the topic with us on our social media pages or by texting them to the number 555. SMS costs $1 Namibian. Until next time, from me, Joseph Sheefeni and the One Exclusive crew, thanks for watching and good night.